Honey, my son asked for some corn dogs, so let's go make them. You know, before we go make it, Nanny Shell's got to taste it. The family's gonna love these. Y'all, my son, he saw Missy Jones making some corn dogs. So he called me and he said, Mama, will you make us some corn dogs? You know, most everybody loves corn dogs. But honey, y'all go follow her. She is the sweetest woman that loves Jesus. And I love watching her. And I've tagged her down at the bottom. So y'all take time and go follow her. So let's get started on this yummy recipe of corn dogs. So we're going to add a cup of all-purpose flour, a cup of cornmeal. I use the yellow. We're going to mix our dry ingredients first. Then I did a teaspoon and a half of salt, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, not cornstarch, but baking soda. Then a tablespoon of sugar. Let's get these dry ingredients incorporated together. Now we're going to mix up our wet ingredients. I've got me a cup of buttermilk right here. And then to that, I'm going to add me 2 tablespoons of honey. Then 2 tablespoons of oil. We're just going to mix that together. And we're just going to pour that over in this. Then to that, we're going to put us an egg. But I'm using 2 eggs because, honey, our chicken was laying little bitty eggs. So I'm going to put 2 small eggs. But you just put 1 large. Let me go wash my hands. Okay, I'm back. All right, now to this, I'm going to add me about a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of my onion powder. Then we'll add us a little bit of salt to taste and some pepper. All right, now we're just going to mix that all up together. Now, when you're making a corn dog meal, you know, your little batter, you don't want it to be runny. It needs to be pretty thick so it'll stick to them corn dogs. Well, they ain't corn dogs till we batter them to a hot dog. Okay, honey, we're ready to dip these in the batter. Now, I've got me, I'm going to show you a little bit. I did boil my weenies because I like to boil them before I, cook them like this. But you don't have to. But what I do is I make sure they're really dry and they're cold, and I put me a little bit of cornstarch on them because that cornstarch, it helps your batter stick to your hot dog. And then I got me these little sticks. Now, I did soak my sticks overnight in water because we don't want them to catch on fire. That'd be a bad thing if we had a fire in here. So this is what I did. I just put some cornstarch on all of them, and now we're going to stick them in this. Your batter, you'll need to put it in a little deeper, glass so that you can stick these things all down in there. And then, honey, you're just going to twirl that around and go up and down. And looky there. Now they're ready to go in the oil. So let's get them over there and drop them in that oil. All right, we're dropping them in that hot oil now. Now, it'll probably take just a few minutes to get these cooked up. But what you're going to do, you're just going to watch this until they turn a pretty brown. And you can sort of, turn them if you see they need it. Now, honey, I know you're thinking, what in the world is in her oil? Because it's white and foamy. Honey, I run out of regular oil, so I had to add some coconut oil. But you know what? You just do what you got to do. And you go in that pantry and see what you got to help with what you don't have. All right, let's see if they need to be turned a little bit. Yep. That one don't want to turn. All right, honey, they're ready to come out. Let's get this out. We're going to drain it on our little paper towel. Now, as soon as they come out, honey, I like to add a little bit of salt to it. Dear Jesus, that thing about popped me right in the face. Woo, that was hot. All right, and you're going to just do the same thing with the rest of them. Now, honey, this batter should, coat 8 hot dogs pretty good. Now, let's cook the rest of them up. All right, they're all ready. And I'm going to send these home with my son because them grandyoungins is going to be tickled with these. So, look, y'all go make you some. And, honey, go make some beautiful memories and smile because God sure loves you. And, baby, He's got this.